Hey everyone, welcome back to Whole Latte Love. I'm Nick.
And I'm John.
And thanks for joining us for our Cyber Monday live stream event. So, if you've been keeping an eye on our topics today, you are at our best accessories segment, and we have got some really cool stuff for you today.
Oh, there's so much to go through. In fact, we're even going to get into more than just accessories today, Nick. We're going to talk about some of the new other products that we have right behind us as well.
That's right.
So there's tons to get through in this 45-minute segment, and I'm really excited about it, partly because I love accessories. I think it's one of the most affordable ways to up your espresso flavor without having to, buy a brand new machine.
That's right, and the thing is, we've got more than just accessories for espresso as well. We have a few new items from our friends at Varia Brewing, specifically for their flow drippers, which, John, you are quite the expert at, I would say.
Yeah, I ended up writing an entire...
Right?
Yeah, I've used one or two in my day. Wrote an entire article all about the flow screens and what they can do. We'll show you the whole thing.
Yeah. We've got some Whole Latte Love exclusives here. We've got some friends you know, and maybe some friends that you don't know in terms of accessories. Now, if you're watching live, we do respond directly to your comments. We've got them on a screen right down there. So if you see us looking, we're taking a look to see what questions you've got, and we'll have answers for you. And again, if you're watching during Cyber Monday, make sure to check out our website and our sales page for some of our sales and deals that we have going on for a limited time only.
Right. Yeah, it's been a blast this entire weekend. I hope y'all have been taking advantage of some of the free gifts with purchase. And using the bundler that we have on each product page, you can save some additional money by bundling products together. Now, before we get going, also don't forget, a lot of our products are going to be backed by a Whole Latte Love parts and labor warranty.
That's right.
Now, if you do need some help deciding what's going to be right for you, you can book what we call a CoffeeCast. That's a one-on-one video call where you can get a live product demo. So Justin just finished one with the Syncronica 2
That's
behind us, in fact, so you can see it in action, ask all the questions you want with one of our coffee experts.
That's live support from our team of experts here in Rochester, New York. So, John,
Absolutely.
I'd say let's get started. Probably the first thing I want to talk about, we've got right in front of us, this is our new flow paddles. If you guys want to take us down there, Mike and Andrew, who we have behind the camera today. So thank you both so much for helping us out. So the flow paddle is something we've talked about before, but it is a Whole Latte Love exclusive accessory upgrade that you can have in place of the traditional flow control ball. So I'll put this in the middle here. So this is the old ball flow control that you've likely seen on lots of videos, lots of machines on our website, designed by ECM and Profitec basically to allow you to rotate the ball completely so that it doesn't impact into the back panel of the machine. That unlocks the full potential flow rate that can be achieved with the flow control device. Now, the paddle, on the other hand, if you guys want to go back to that other view here, because I just want to show, is designed with roughly the same total length, maybe just a hair longer, but a more aesthetic sloped design, designed by Jesse Salzman, and then ultimately more ergonomic as well. So a great spot on the end there that you can just pinch with 2 fingers and then turn with your index finger on the flow control device. That allows for some really great precision when making adjustments, but at the same time, you aren't ever in risk of contacting this hot metal stem. Now, John, when he demos our press sensor, which is another item that we're going to be talking about today, is going to be taking advantage of that precision movement from the flow paddle on the ECM Syncronica 2 that we have behind us. Now, something else that I want to say is just that some machines right now are available with flow paddle, and you can add them right on the website. If there's a product that you see that you'd like to add a flow paddle to and it's not available currently on our website, contact a member of our sales team and they can get you a flow paddle with your machine in place of the original flow control ball. They have matching woods to match all of the Wiedemann accessory upgrades that we have, and a Bakelite plastic version if you wind up going with the stock components.
Yeah, and I'm very excited about this. Again, my favorite part of this entire feature is it's much easier to make an entire rotation just with one finger instead of doing this and you got to reposition your fingers. Instead, you get this really nice fluid motion just like this, much easier. And when we actually do some brewing on the Syncronica 2 behind me, we're going to show you a little bit more in action. Plus, I'll get a chance to show you the press sensor as well.
Yeah, so actually, I'll tell you what, I think that's a good way to segue. Let's go actually straight down here to our iPad that we've got. This has the press sensor loaded up on it. And so the press sensor is a pressure sensor. It's Bluetooth enabled and connects to the E61. So if you're familiar with a flow control device, you know that you can install a pressure gauge on there that reads the pressure basically as an analog readout. The press sensor is much smarter than that. So first and foremost, it is a Bluetooth transducer. So it will take that pressure and then it will send it via Bluetooth to a companion app. So we've got that here on an Apple iPad. And it can also then be tethered as well to a smart scale like the Varia Accu Pro, for example, that you can use to then get a complete readout of both the pressure gradient as you've been extracting, as well as your flow as well.
Now, this is what the press sensor looks like if you've ever installed flow control onto an E61 group machine. You do know, Nick, you just mentioned this.
Yeah.
There is an extra pressure gauge right at the group head. This device goes where that pressure gauge would normally be, and that's it. That's all it takes to get an entire graph readout of your pressure over time. So, and that's a great companion with flow control, because flow will influence pressure. It doesn't control pressure, but your pressure will react over time based on your flow rate. So
exactly.
So it's been a lot of fun to play with. Want to pull a shot and we'll
yeah, let's do it. We'll pull a shot, and then we've got the iPad in position. I'll just get that ready for if we want to go back to that there, so we can show the pressure gradient. But you're going to get a real-time readout of the extraction as it changes. And again, you can use the press sensor without a smart scale, and you can still log your pressure throughout the extraction as well as the time that it took. You can set things like a minimum pressure that you want in case you don't want it to begin, for example, reading your shot until your pressure has reached a certain threshold. So we have it set basically to start at 0.1 bar. We want to start reading right away. But if, for example, you do have a, let's say, low pre-infusion pressure that you start with, and you don't want that calculated into your shot, you can actually set a higher threshold so that that initial low pressure phase is left out of the calculation for your shot. So if you want to take us to John, he's just getting the machine set up. So tell us a little bit, John, what grinder are we using today?
Well, what I just used just now, this is a new product for us as well. This is kind of what I was talking about. We're going to show you many new products, not just
that's right.
Accessories today. This is the new grinder from Chiato. This is called the Chiato Rev series. This specifically is the Chiato Rev Steel. It's also available as the Chiato Rev Titan, and that just has upgraded burrs and a stronger motor. Right. But basically the idea behind this is Chiato's first grind-by-weight grinder. Super fast, really powerful, 3 different grind weights that you can choose, and very easy to use as well. Also, the grind adjustment, super easy. You can set a pin to hold your grind setting. In fact, yeah, I don't know if we can see the screen, but if you show us there, Nick.
Yeah.
Now,
Mike's just taking us there.
Oh, so beautiful.
It won't stay on too long, but you can check your grind setting, and we've pinned it obviously at 5.8. Flips back pretty quickly though. That's a system called Align, Advanced Leveling Intelligent Grinding Nexus.
I like the acronym they came up with there. Now, so this has been a blast to use. It's one of my new favorite grinders. There's even some cafes around town here in Rochester, New York that have these, so I'm pretty proud of that. But anyway, if you want to take us right back overhead.
Well, here, let's start on the machine. Let's just show how you're going to use your flow paddle to basically get your starting. We do have the flow paddle starting, and then
Yeah. Now, this is much more ergonomic, like we were saying here. So what I'm going to do is start right here, and that's just going to be a little bit of pre-infusion. Then I'm going to open this up to right about there. That's the stock flow rate. And
1 1/4 turns. Yeah.
1 1/4 turns. Yep. So much easier to do without risking touching that metal pole that's usually there.
Exactly.
So, yeah, super easy. That's been nice.
Yeah.
I've also got this Varia Accu Pro scale hooked up to the press sensor, so it's going to read our shot weight in real time on the graph.
And you can also tear the scale from the press sensor. That's one of the benefits of connecting them. So John, yeah, go ahead and just start that up here. And then once the shot is pulling, we can cut over to the press sensor as well.
Yes.
And just see how that goes.
Sounds good. Here we go.
Yep.
Let's pre-infuse for, let's give it about 5 seconds here. And then I'm just going to open you up to the stock flow rate. Nice.
And then if you guys want to go to our press sensor now, you can see, obviously, we have our 2 graphs here. The orange down there, that's our flow in grams per second. And then the pressure, you see, climbs very quickly as it normalizes inside the portafilter and then cuts when we cut our shot here. And so basically our final out, 38.4 grams. So it's about a 2-to-1 ratio, a little higher than that. Looking good though, 30.6 seconds. So you're capturing some of that pre-infusion as well. We want that if we want to know the full length of the shot with the pre-infusion. If you don't, like I said, you can set a lower pressure threshold for that. So John, we can actually rate the coffee. So I'll tell you what here, we'll give this a taste. What are we brewing today?
This is something that we're all pretty familiar with. This is the Crema Wave blend.
I don't know if I've heard of that one before.
Have you heard of that one? No?
I don't know if I've heard of that one before.
Well, you know what? It's lately it's tasting better than ever. So I'm pretty excited to get into this. First of all, lots of crema.
Yeah.
Yep, and that can be one of the notes. We can actually make verbal notes in here on this shot as well. Tons and tons of dark milk chocolate, actually. Very pillowy as well, super soft.
You know, like, it's a very complex kind of expression of Crema Wave, I think. And part of that's to do with the fact that we gave it some nice pre-infusion, good precise double boiler there. Really great burrs on that Shadow Rev steel as well.
83 millimeter burrs,
Yeah, Crema Wave can be more complex than you might think. You could even try it with filter.
Oh, I do. Yeah,
So.
I make pots of coffee for the family.
And I do see we have a comment down below. Jonathan Bester, how to combine fruit and coffee beans. So I'm not sure if you're talking about co-fermenting, but that is something that's very popular these days where coffee is fermented with fruit and that adds a flavor. So if you see something says that it's co-fermented, it basically just means that prior to roasting, the coffee gets fermented with any number of different kinds of things, but very commonly you see fruit.
Yeah, and this typically happens at origin during the fermentation process, not really something that the roaster does, you know, directly before roasting or anything like that. Now, if you're talking about combining fruit with coffee as far as making like a strawberry simple syrup, for example, we actually have done this. If you look up our Valentine's Day live stream from last year on our
yes,
YouTube
that was
channel.
a good one.
Yep. Yeah, then that'll be a totally different way to combine fruit and coffee, but there's so many different ways.
Yeah.
So, good question.
I mean, and just on top of that too, on our website under recipes, we have a couple of different coffee cocktails and mocktails that use, you know, ingredients like lemon juice or orange juice, for example. You know, our cold brew limoncello spritz or the orange nitro cold brew, both, or shaken orange cold brew, both have orange juice. They have lemon. Very good. Unrelated, but will you guys be restocking refurbished Gaja E24 models or having any other Cyber Monday deals for Gaja? So the deals you see right now are the deals. And then in terms of restocking, you know, we do get waves of refurbs, you know, as time goes on, but the E24 is a pretty solid machine. I can't really say when we'll have more refurbs, but eventually I'm sure. So if you're looking to steal a deal on one of those, I would just say keep your eyes peeled. You can sign up to be notified if a product is not in stock, to be notified when it comes back in stock. So I do know some people do that, looking to score a refurb, but you know, you may be in competition with a few other people looking for that deal. So
it's a good deal, and they're fabulous machines as it is. If you see anything sold out, just right under where it says sold out, you'll see a little link that says notify me when available. So just enter your email address there. You'll be the first to know.
So I gave us a 5-star, and then obviously we want to update a little bit of data in here because we can actually change. It's defaulting to our previous equipment that we had on here. We can obviously update our machine. We can change the basket that we used, the grinder as well, the tamper. So there's a whole lot of additional data that we could add. So the press sensor, really a lot of fun. If you're somebody who's a very data-driven kind of person who really enjoys logging things. You can also share your shots if there's something that you like in particular. So if you're out there in the audience and you're brewing with some Whole Latte Love coffees, we'd love for you to share your recipes. We'd love to try them ourselves. We've got more coffees coming. If you watched our stream earlier today, then you saw we have a Creme Wave decaf on the way. So get ready for that because I've had it and it is absolutely delicious.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I teased that the other day, and I'm glad that we really showed it off today in the cupping that we did just a couple hours ago.
Mm-hmm. So I think maybe we stay in the realm of espresso and then we go to a machine that you're probably pretty familiar with, but that maybe this is a version that you haven't seen available from Whole Latte Love before. I am, of course, talking about the Rancilio Silvia, which I am very happy to say is now available with an Auber Instruments PID controller pre-installed from Whole Latte Love. So not exactly an accessory that you can purchase individually per se, but you can get this with your Silvia now. We have all 4 of the colors. I don't know if you've seen some of the new ones like white or sage green, but they're really quite nice. And then on top of that, we do have the new Rancilio Stile series grinders as well. So if you're looking to kind of go all in on your setup, nice 58 millimeter flat burr grinder here. I've got it dialed in. But I'll show off the PID controller because the version that we have here at Whole Latte Love does more than just control the temperature. We are actually going to be able to control brew temperature, steam temperature, and program a pre-infusion cycle all using the PID. So it does add quite a bit of functionality to this otherwise fairly traditional, but of course, legendary machine. And John, enlighten us a little bit on the legend of the Silvia, if you will.
So the Rancilio Silvia, it first came out as a gift for Rancilio commercial accounts. And this is, what, 30 years ago, around there?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, it ended up being such a hit with the accounts that this was given to. They were like, wow, this is cool. You can put this in my home, on my countertop, that it sort of sprouted up a cottage industry known as the residential espresso machine industry.
Small industry, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, we may or may not be a participant in that. So, I mean, this really kind of kicked off a lot of the home espresso craze. And people loved it so much that they added PIDs onto it. Now we're happy to be able to offer the PID on the Rancilio Silvia ourselves.
Yes. I see we do have another question. For one shot at a time, a few times per day, fast heat up, the best possible results, which machine do you recommend to not overpay on the machine? So I do think that it will come down to, if you're strictly brewing shots, my next question would be, how precise are you trying to go, right?
Yep.
So something like the Gazza Classic E24, for example, you're definitely going to get really quick heat up time, and you can achieve very consistent 200-degree extractions if you follow a very basic flush routine that we've described in our review video. Now, if you're buying a lot of high-end specialty coffees and you are going to need to guarantee temperature consistency and maybe even change temperatures, and you need to be able to see what those changes are, that's where I would look into probably something like the ProfTech Go, where you have the ability to program your brew temperatures. I mean, in terms of a setup, obviously the Classic E24 is going to get you a lot more room left over in your budget for a quality grinder, but the Go with the PID, I think, is a really great value. Obviously now too, the Silvia with the PID for just a little bit more. I would say that the Silvia is probably the choice that you'd make if you are more of a milk drinker. That steam power is pretty ridiculous on the Silvia.
It's kind of known for its unbelievable steam power.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider as well.
Mm-hmm. And then, will I notice a difference in the espresso flavor when upgrading from a Eureka Specialty 75 to the Chiato Rev Steel? That's a very good question.
Yeah, my opinion is, I think we're pretty close in terms of specs between the Specialty 75 and the Rev Steel, right? We've got 75 millimeter burrs versus 83 millimeter burrs. As far as motor capacity goes, we're also kind of looking at pretty close. The main thing that you're really going to notice, it's going to be a workflow thing and not necessarily quite as much of a flavor thing. Now, if we were talking about something like the Chiato E6C Chameleon, I would say you're going to get a flavor difference because the Chameleon burrs are known to promote clarity. Those are the 83 millimeter Opal Glide burrs.
More of a multi-purpose use there too for all grinding methods versus espresso.
That's exactly right. So, you know, instead of comparing them in terms of flavor, I would rather compare those in terms of workflow. Now, I just love grind by weight grinders, especially when they're super accurate, and these are. So, you know, that's where I would send you if you've got it in the budget. I just love this grinder.
I would say one other thing too is that the Rev is not just a E37S that has a scale. Chiato actually completely redesigned the grinding chamber. It is a nice milled aluminum now with ventilation that's been milled into the back. The entire design insulates the grind shaft so that it doesn't transfer heat to the burrs and to the coffee, and it helps prevent basically burr separation due to thermal expansion using Chiato's Steady Lock system. So the Rev is going to do a really, really good job of keeping itself very, very consistent with every shot that you pull. So especially if you're going to do multiples back to back with a, say, really dense coffee that's going to take a little bit longer to grind, for example, the thermal stability and mitigation from the Rev, I think, is definitely something to consider as well.
Yeah, again, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. It's not just an E37S. The addition of the fan in there sort of helped to enter a whole new ballpark, which is why we're seeing this in cafes already. You know, especially busy cafes. That fan is really helping keep the grounds,
keep the temperatures consistent.
Yeah, and on the motor as well, and on the burrs, keeping the temperatures consistent. Yep.
So I got one more question, and then I think we are going to get back to brewing here for you. But Bizarra Matrix versus Quick Mill Vitrano 2B versus Profitec Drive. Would you get a Mazzer Philos as a great value but not break the bank grinder, or are there bigger burr grinders that are of better value? So that is actually a pretty in-depth question to answer. So I would say that if we have time at the end, we can come back to, just because we're comparing multiple machines and then talking about multiple grinders.
That's like a 5-part question right there.
Yeah. I would say in the meantime, though, too, our sales team is available live on the phone and via chat right now. So definitely pose that to them, too, and they can get you an answer probably a little faster than John and I. So thank you so much for your questions and comments so far. Let's get back over, though, to the Silvia. And let's see, we have a nice shot here. So if you guys want to go... Perfect. So right now you'll see we're at 219. So the way that the Silvia PID actually works is we're programming the temperature inside the boiler to try and essentially achieve a temperature at the group. So this is an offset like you would see on, say, for example, a single boiler when you switch it into steam mode. There's a nice chart that comes from Auber that shows the conversion there. Now, by pressing set, I can use our arrow key, and by pressing 0001, we're able to enter our menu now. So just to go over, we can set the boiler temperature. That's our SV setting here. And then we have AH1 and AL1. And so in here, we're setting our steam temperature target. So this is 284. And then we're setting basically our threshold beneath it, which is 283. And so we always need our AH1 value to be lower than our AL1. And so what we could do is go in actually and change this from 284. We could go up to maybe 294 or 95 and get a higher temperature for steaming. So I happen to think that the Silvia's steam power is actually very impressive. So I am going to leave that. But you can use this to essentially raise or lower the temperature range for the steam for the Silvia. Now, we also have the ability, so we have TP, this is going to be time pre-infusion, and this
is where it gets really fun.
Yeah, this is where it gets really fun.
Yeah.
This is an active pre-infusion time, meaning solenoid valve opens, pump kicks on, set for 1.6 seconds. Then we have time delay, so that's going to be how long do we want to pause before we start brewing again. So we've got that set to 5 seconds. And then we have time brew. And so this is obviously just for brewing. I have it set to 35 seconds, longer than you need, but it's there so that I can, if I want, have the shot run all the way, or I can stop it mid-brew. So that's just giving me a little bit of extra time, but you can obviously program this to stop automatically. And then you just hit end and go back. To change our brewing temperature, we can also directly modify it using the up and down arrows that we have here on the screen.
Now hit me with that again, Nick. The 218 right there that I'm seeing, that is not the brewing temperature, right? That's simply the boiler temperature, but by the time it gets to the group head.
Right, that's that's the boiler temperature, and then included by Auber is and we have this available digitally actually. It came with our install kits. We got a reference guide that has, and this is right on the product page too, the conversion chart between what the screen shows and what you can expect at the group. Okay,
that's awesome.
Yes,
that's the kind of thing I would be printing out and having a look at myself.
So we'll demo this though. I've got my Steel dialed in here.
Very nice. And
then we'll show off some steaming too. And so, John, what do we got right here actually?
Right here, this is the V Decent Tamper from Wiedemann. And it comes in several different woods. And again, Wiedemann is our German woodworking partner. So check this out. I've actually got several different designs, or woods rather, of the same tamper. So if you guys want to zoom in there, check it out. Now, Nick, this is the, what is this? The blackened oak.
Yeah.
This is the olive wood. Which one would you like?
I'll take blackened oak. Yeah, I think it matches the best with my black Steel that I have here.
This is walnut, and this is oak, so you can really customize and get something that feels like truly yours.
And I'm going
to get out of your way
here.
I'll
bring this in just so that people can see. So it's designed, obviously, we have a ring here that can help, oh, there we go. Yeah, ring here that helps us tamp straight down so you don't push off the sides of the edge. And then there's a spring on the inside that compresses into the handle. That's going to guarantee that we get the correct tamping pressure. Nice contour for your thumb, and then you just go straight down, and that's it, the Decent Tamper.
Perfect. Yeah, this has been something that we've been using around here quite a bit. Andrew's giving me some stage advice here. Thanks, man. Now, there's plenty of Wiedemann accents all around here, if you couldn't tell. You know, we've got them right here on the Synchronica 2. And Nick, right next to you, there's also the Wiedemann WDT tool as well.
That's right. I gave my shot a little bit of business before we got started. This is the WDT tool and the WDT stand. So just to go over one other little thing for you too, in order to brew when you have this PID installed, you need to make sure that you press the brew switch. That's going to make sure that the solenoid valve can open, and then we just press our arrow, and there's our initial 1.6 jet of water for pre-infusion.
And that was the rest, and now it's back into our actual infusion right now, right?
We are back into the actual infusion. That's looking very nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got this dialed in. This is some of our Bozopolis. And I'll do a little steaming too.
If I may, the Bozopolis is one of my favorite blends that we offer right now.
So we ended around 19.5, but that's really not too bad because we did have the initial active and the soak phase there. And so now I am going to close the solenoid and I'm going to just switch into steam mode. And now we'll see the boiler's going to start heating up to that 284 that we've got in there.
And we can see that awesome steam power that the Silvia is really known for as well.
And while that happens, I do see that we've got a few more questions. So let's just see here. I did comment on another video, but I didn't get a reply. Got it. And then thank you. Wait for my, okay, got it. Yeah, I would say too, you know, if you didn't get a reply right away, like I said, I would definitely reach out to a member of our sales team. We are going to be around, I think, until 11 p.m. tonight. So we've got people who will be available live who can assist you right there too. So,
would you like some milk for your Bozopolis blend?
That's right. I will get a little bit of milk here.
We've got these Brewista pitchers. We have them in 12 ounce and 20 ounce, and I've been enjoying steaming on a small pitcher and then transferring into a bigger pitcher for my latte.
Oh, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Nice. And speaking of which, if you stick around after this stream, we're going to go right into latte art techniques. Zach and I are going to show you a thing or two and have some fun while we're at it. Maybe I can even get him to steam up a seahorse, which he's known for as well.
Purged a little bit of water there. Now, I could start steaming right away. One thing that's really great about having the PID is that it will actually help maintain a more consistent steam temperature for frothing. So I'll get started right now. We're at about 275. Get in here. And yeah, that is
powerful.
And I just want to be careful.
Oh yeah, that steam can really rip.
Yeah, if you're not ready for it, that's where actually I think that the Silvia's, the PID kit can be really useful, because now I could lower that temperature if I wanted, just to keep that steam from being a little crazy. So I distilled, like I said. Knock out my bubbles there. I'll bring this back over. Move the iPad out of the splash zone. That's right. And there we go. So we'll just pour in.
Good base already. Yeah. Nick, this is one of your more symmetrical pours. I'm pretty impressed here.
I mean, it is the Brewista Smart Pour Pitcher, and I think I might be smart enough to pour with it. So, you know, pretty good texture, I'd say. Could have better definition for sure, but I mean, that Silvia really rips when it comes to steam power. So, distilling definitely helped. It aerates very fast, and so again, that's where with the PID, we could even lower that pressure if it's just a little too much for somebody to handle.
And that's probably what I would do. I'm really only, for myself, typically only steaming just a little bit of milk at one time. And with that much steam pressure, it can just fly right out of the pitcher. So that PID is really helpful there. You can lower your steam pressure a little bit just by lowering temperature. Again, temperature and pressure are kind of going to be related there. So, you know, he was at about 285 on the steam temperature, so I'd bring it down to 265 and probably get a little more control in there.
Yeah,
and now this is just cooling down the boiler, right?
And that's nice too, having that PID. Now you can actually see the temperature in the boiler.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to just throttle it a little bit so it's not as messy, you know. And then go all open once we get low enough.
There we go.
And then you'll want to make sure that if you're using the Auber PID kit, to just flip the brew switch back on when you're all done to make sure that you have the solenoid valve still open. So anyway, really cool upgrade. Definitely glad that we've got it now. This latte looks quite nice. So John, what else do we have here? Because right behind us,
there's
it's
quite
lined
a bit.
up, and I'm ready to talk about it.
All right. Now, you've probably heard me talk about the Varia Flow if you've watched this channel before or read articles on our website. The Varia Flow, first of all, Varia, what they're known for is variability with their products, right? Hence the name Varia. And what they mean with that in terms of the Varia Flow, I'm just going to pull one of these out. Actually, I'll take one of my favorite ones. This is the rose color.
Yeah, so if you've seen these on our site, you'll know that we had the steel one for a long time. We now have all 4 colors. So brushed stainless, candy, rose, and then shadow.
Now, what these are really known for is you can open this up and you can take out what's called the flow screen or flow disc. It comes with 3 of them, fast, medium, and slow, but there are also upgrades to the Varia Flow. And I've got those right here on the front counter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they now have the medium 2, the slow 2, the slow 3, and there's even an additional fast, and of course there's the medium and the slow that will come in the box. And this is actually my favorite, the fast, they call it fast 1. This will come in the box. This really promotes a lot of beautiful acidity and sweetness, and I kind of like single origins, things like that shine best when you're showing off the acidity. So This is one of my favorites, but I've also had awesome results with the slower flow disc. I'll take this right out here. It doesn't slow the brew down too much, but what it does is accentuates body and strangely acidity. I was pretty taken aback by that. It slows it down a little bit, but somehow accentuates acidity. Now, the flow rate didn't really change that much from disc to disc to disc, but what did change is the flavor, and my theory is that the way the water is moving through the coffee bed is the main thing that's affecting the change in flavor. So I did put together some charts on one of the articles all about the Varia flow on WholeLatteLove.com. So feel free to check that out. Just search Varia Flow, FLO, that stands for Flexible Liquid Output.
That's right.
Yep, and you can get a breakdown of every single one of these and make the choice that's best for you. Or try them all, which is kind of what I like to do as well.
Get these all lined up here too, just so people can see them all nice and pretty.
Nice.
But John, really there's more than just the drippers themselves and the screens that can change our flow, right? So what else have we got here?
Well, they have new filters as well, new wave filters.
Yes.
Now, these come in two different heights, 55 and 85.
Yep. So both heights, by the way, are compatible with the flows, but obviously Varia did design these so that they can be used with other filters, or I'm sorry, other drippers as well. Both are compatible with the flow, but what else do we have going on here, John?
Well, these are called the fast filter and the slow filter. Now, of course, slow is not super slow or anything like that, but what we have is different pore densities. So it's exactly what it sounds like. That means that your fast filter, and just upon looking at this, I was like, wow, that's pretty translucent. You can really kind of see through it quite well. But you're going to get a faster flow rate because the pores are much farther apart.
Yeah. Lower GSM, or grams per square meter.
Grams per square meter,
Yes.
yeah, that's what it was. Now, I've been using the slow filter, and it's working great, and I just kind of use grind size to help predict my flow rate. However, I've been getting a different mouthfeel out of the fast filter. Let's say if I want a similar drawdown time, let's call it a 2-minute and 50-second drawdown. If I want to mimic that from the slow filter to the fast filter, all I would do is grind finer, and then you're going to have an entirely different flavor profile altogether, and probably higher TDS as well from more solids getting through that filter. So, you know, between the flow screens as well as the different filters, there's kind of no shortage of different ways to play around.
Yeah, to really play around. And that's not to mention, you know, Varia also has a lot of different burrs for their grinders.
I was hoping you were going there.
Yeah, not only are you really customizing just in terms of your pour over equipment, but then on top of that, you have different burr sets with different cutting geometries or different materials that are also going to give you different particle distributions for even more variability, right? So this is sort of like the end game of pour over playgrounds, let's say. And John, I think, were you going to
well, Nick, I had some coffee dosed out, and it found its way in there before we got going. So I don't have a drip grinder with us to play, but I'll tell you what, we do have an entire review on our YouTube channel, not just an article that will show you every single little detail, an excruciating detail about the flow screens, but we've also got a YouTube video all about the Varia Flow, and I break down all the screens in there as well. So, and it's been a blast to use. We actually brought this to the Specialty Coffee Association Expo in Houston this year, and we had a blast. We were brewing both espresso and Varia Flows with it on the Varia AccuScales, which is actually our next accessory that I want to show off.
So, and while you get that ready, John, I see, watching you steam on the Silvia, I assume you would pass all of the steps with a dual boiler, easier with a dual boiler. So yes, so basically the way I like to look at it is if you want a very precise machine in terms of brew water temperature for specialty coffees, you either want a single boiler or you want a dual boiler. And then if you, on top of that, are somebody who wants to make milk drinks regularly, that's where the dual boiler really shines. Because at that point, not only do you have that degree by degree temperature precision for your extractions, but you have a boiler that is, once heated, always able to produce steam for frothing milk. And so that's the benefit of a dual boiler is once the machine is heated up, so like let's say for example, you have the machine on an appliance timer, or if it's a programmable machine like the Synchronica 2 for instance, it turns on when you've programmed it to, you wake up, you go downstairs, you froth your milk, and it's ready to go. You don't need to cool the boiler back down, and you even could shut the boiler off when you're done if you don't want it on. But yes, having a boiler dedicated just to steaming means that you do have on-demand steam and also on-demand hot water that you can use whenever you need to froth milk. So yeah, if you're somebody who makes milk drinks every day or maybe like multiple times a week, I would certainly recommend a dual boiler. It will be an easier workflow on a single boiler machine, not just exclusively like the Silvia, but any single boiler machine. You're going to need to cool the boiler back down.
Profitec Go.
Profitec Go, Classic E24,
Yep.
Bizarre Hobby. Some, like I think the one machine that might have an automatic is the Lelite Victoria, which anytime that you switch to steam mode, no matter how long you're in steam mode, when you switch back to brew mode, it will run a purge cycle and it forces you to cool the boiler back down. And you do that just to bring the temperature back down and also refill the water that you just lost from steaming.
Yeah, I actually like that feature quite a bit. So,
I do like it, but if you ever accidentally go into steam mode and then you try to switch back out, you're going to have to run that pump again. So just make sure you don't press that button by mistake.
So here's what we have in front of us now. And this is the last accessory we're going to go through, and then we'll get ready for steaming some milk for latte art with Zach in just a little bit. I present to you the Varia Accu series. This is a series of scales that Varia put together. This is the base model. They just call it exactly what it sounds like, the Varia Accu scale. So this is accurate to 1/10 of a gram, or that's 0.1 of a gram.
And pressing it upside down is always tricky.
Yeah, thank you for that. So it comes with a timer as well. This is basically this is the most basic version of the scale, the most affordable version of the scale as well, but still, what is it, IPX5?
Yeah, IPX5 water resistance,
Water resistance,
that's right.
Yep. As well as still plenty slim to fit under your portafilter
Yeah,
stouts.
really just marginally bigger than, say, an Acaia Lunar. Accurate within 1/10 of a gram, and you still have features like auto tear and auto time.
And now next is something that we've been loving around here. This
one actually is just switched off, so we'll turn that on.
Thank you. All right, this is the Varia Accu Mini. Now this has been a really exciting proposition because it has something called Accu Spro mode. And when you go into settings, what you're going to do is, by the way, this is primarily an espresso scale. You're going to program what your dose of espresso is. So I've been dosing 18 grams, for example. So
I'll switch us over to
Spro mode, please.
To show that off,
yeah. Now, basically what it's going to do is as your shot is coming out, it's going to calculate your espresso ratio in real time. So, you know, if you're going for like a 1-to-2 ratio, and, you know, for me, that would be 18 grams in, 36 grams out.
Yeah.
Not only are you going to get a timer and your weight.
I don't know if we can get any closer to that screen. If not, I get it. But
it's a toughie.
It's a very compact scale. You know, the screen is split into quadrants here. I'll straighten it out for you. Get my
there
hand
we
out of the
go.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see our ratio gets calculated up there in the top right-hand corner. So when I start pressing on this and simulate adding weight, you'll see that begins to calculate. We have our dose, which gets programmed ahead of time in the menu. That's the 16 grams, which is right there in the top right. Then we have our time, and then we have our water. And this is a scale mode that will essentially begin the timer when it detects an active flow of water or of espresso, right? So it's not, you saw it didn't start a timer or anything, but if you had a consistent addition of weight through your espresso flowing, that begins. And so again, though, you do program that in a menu separately.
Right. Now, I could see this being used in coffee shops. I think it'd be a great tool for like training new baristas, you know, talking about the concept of a ratio, you know, your dry dose to your actual brewed espresso,
Yeah.
as far as flavor goes, that's one of the biggest things you want to think about is what the ratio is. And this will kind of beat you over the head with you must pay attention to your ratio. So I
Yeah.
see this as being a really good training tool in cafes.
Well, and I think too, one of the other ways to really think about it is that a lot of people think about 1 to 2, right? And this helps you though with the math of things. And it also helps you if you're experimenting, like let's say you want a ristretto or a turbo shot, or you want like a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the ratio and understanding it, you don't have to do math. You don't have to know exactly how much, like 48 is 3 to 1. Well, maybe you didn't know that. So you can just look at the scale and very easily determine how to stop your shot just based on your ratio instead.
Right. Yeah. And, that's something that I hope people end up talking about more is things in terms of ratios, not just, dose time, weight, temperature, things like that, ratio as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now next in the Accu series is the Varia Accu Pro scale. So this takes all the features that we love about all these scales, combines it into one, but it's big enough that it's much easier to fit a portafilter on there. And also you can fit a pour over device on there with no problem at all. And, granted you can as well on the original Accu scale. However, there's a function called Accu Flow Mode on here, and it's a pretty similar concept. You're going to tell it your dose of pour over, so 20 grams.
Well, here,
for
I'll switch us over to
Accu
Flow,
get us
so
into flow mode there.
You can
Now,
see that for a minute.
This also has Accu Spro mode, like we just talked about with the Accu Mini scale, and it's still slim enough to be able to fit on a drip tray right under your portafilter spouts. So, and I'm always, when it comes to an espresso scale, there's kind of 4 things I'm always really looking for. I want some level of water resistance, and all 3 of these have that.
Yeah.
I want it to be slim enough to fit under my portafilter spouts. And I want at least 0.1 accuracy. This has 0.01 of a gram accuracy, so even better. And I love having a timer as well.
Yeah, and I mean, so the way that this scale, so just to kind of, you set your vessel, right? So you can, actually, we'll put a flow on there, and we'll do vessel, and that confirms. And so then you add your coffee. So it's got our vessel on there, so let's add some coffee.
Let's say this is our coffee.
That's our coffee. We're only doing 13 grams. So maybe we want to do 200, right? And that'll get us our 1 to 16. And so then you start adding water, right? And then it calculates the water. You see it started a timer for me, and then it will show our ratio at the same time all up in
right up in that top corner.
That other corner there as well. A little obscured by our device actually, but really, really useful. Just to kind of bring it back to all 3 of the Accus. If you guys want to give us a sec, we'll reorient them. We'll cover just a few more key things, and then I think it's probably going to be time to wrap up because you got a jet.
I got to do some latte art with Zach, yeah.
Standard Accu and Accu Pro both have enough surface and a large enough load cell that you can use them both for the pour-over devices that you might have at home as well as your espresso form factor that fits under espresso machines as well. When you get into the Accu Mini and the Accu Pro, that's where you do get more Bluetooth and app compatibility between them. So like the Accu Pro connecting to the press sensor like we talked about. You also have active flow rate tracking on these two. So we'll switch us off of Accu flow mode for a minute just to show, but this little red number right here, and that's also available on our Accu Mini. You have a decimal number that represents the flow rate as well as the total amount of water. So both of these scales can actually track the active flow. So you could see how much liquid is flowing per second. The standard Accu does not have that feature. This guy is definitely your value, your workhorse. Really just beautiful scales too. This is all a space grade aluminum alloy that they're made out of. Very water resistant. All of them come with a travel case with a power cord and a tearing weight as well for recalibration. These mats are all included. But yeah, really, really terrific series of scales. And they look beautiful too. And the colors just so happen to match several of the colors available for machines like the classic E24 or the Solus Barista Profeta Plus. So if you're kind of looking to go all in on a color, I think these are definitely some nice scales for that.
And true to the Varia name, I mean, Varia is sort of short for variable. You know, you can use their products in many different ways, from changing out flow screens to changing out modes, AccuSpro mode, AccuFlow mode.
Yes.
And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. We didn't even get into the VS3, VS6 grinder quite yet.
That's right.
But hey, listen, Nick, I had a blast today. Anything else you want to say about these products while I got you here?
I would just say, no matter how you brew, we have an assortment of products at wholelattelove.com that will work for you. Definitely make sure you check out our single origin and specialty blends as well. We've got some really tasty coffees, including a decaf that should be available maybe even this afternoon, that I really recommend that you try. But if you're watching during Cyber Monday, like I said, check out our sales. Contact a member of our team if you want to know anything more about these products that you've seen here today. We do have our CoffeeCast, which is a live product demo that you can schedule, as well as a service that we call Barista Assist, so that you can get one-on-one dialing in or tasting advice from one of our coffee experts. And with that, John, I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Thanks for checking out accessories with us. And don't forget, accessories are some of the most affordable ways to up your flavor game when it comes to espresso, without needing to, buy a whole new machine.
Espresso or pour over.
Or pour over. That's right.
That's right.
Hey, thanks again for joining us. Once again, I'm John.
I'm Nick.
Cheers. We'll see you at the next one.